Alright, this is John Colo with GrowingYourGreens.com. Today I have another exciting episode for you, and what I'm going to do today is I got a special guest on the show. Actually, just recently, I was at the 2016 Naturopathic Doctors Conference here in Las Vegas, Nevada. I make my way to many different health, food, and health conferences throughout the year, amongst all the other gardening and heirloom events that I visit, to keep up to date with what's going on with, not like traditional medical care, but what's considered nowadays alternative or complementary care. So I go to a lot of the different talks at the Naturopathic Doctors Convention and hear a lot of different speakers and learn about a lot of different products and supplements and actually new foods, that they try to sell in a package. But then I just, decide to grow them. And I learned about a lot of new stuff. And actually, one of the people who was there, I interviewed, that's going to come on a little bit later in this segment. But before I get into him, I want to share more about what I'm into and growing in my garden, and why this is one of the fundamental keys to my gardening success, and one of the reasons why I personally garden myself. And what it comes down to for me personally is the trace minerals. You guys have heard me talk about it before, whether you're going to get it from soil humates, rock dust, or even, ocean solids. I want you guys to get the trace minerals into your garden because, number one, your plants will respond. I've seen in my gardens and many friends' gardens, when they start adding the trace minerals, their plants just get plain healthier. There's something in them trace minerals that the plants love. They get healthier. In turn, they take up these nutrients, these trace minerals in themselves, and when they make their fruit, such as my peppers here, or they make the leaves, lettuce or kale or collard greens or Egyptian spinach, whatever I'm growing, when they make their leaves, now they take up the inorganic form of that mineral and basically turn it into an organic mineral. And when it's in the state that it's taken up into the plant, it basically changes the polarity or the charge on the mineral so that we can actually accept it easily into us. Just sucking on a copper penny might get you some copper, but you're not going to have a high level of uptake because it's the wrong charge on it. And that's why I like to get my minerals from food. Furthermore, I want to go into this, because a lot of you guys haven't seen this before. It's actually a Senate document. The Senate document is from 1936. Document 264, 74th Congress, second session, and it's entitled Modern Miracle Men. This was presented to Congress way back then, and Congress and the government and people have known about this since that time. What it basically is, it relates to proper food mineral balances by Dr. Charles Northern, reprinted from Cosmopolitan in June 1936. Alright, so basically it starts like this. Do you know that most of us today are suffering from certain dangerous dietary deficiencies which cannot be remedied until the depleted soils from which our foods come are brought into proper mineral balance? The alarming fact is that foods, fruits, and vegetables and grains now being raised on millions of acres of land that are no longer contains enough of certain needed minerals are starving us no matter how much of them we eat. This was back in the 1930s, and let me tell you, through actually studies and reports I've seen from the USDA, minerals in the food over the years are just declining and declining and declining. Nowadays, they're at an all-time low, and this is because commercial industry is not putting back all the various amounts of trace minerals back in the soil. They're focused on three main minerals, NPK, and then along with many conventional synthetic made fertilizers along with the NPK, they're shoving in many cases without telling people, small amounts of minerals. But these are not the minerals that we want. These are the heavy metal minerals that actually they're just dumping. The answer to pollution is not dilution, or I don't know, something like that. But anyways, they're diluting the heavy metals that industry is creating in fertilizers that then grow food for cattle and also for us. So I want you guys to step out of that system and grow your own mineral-rich food. Anyways, you guys could look up this Senate document, but I think if I go to the end, I could sum it up. I mean, it basically talks a lot about a lot of different things. And here's one of the points. Healthy plants means healthy people, said he. We can't raise a strong race on weak soil. Why don't you try mending the deficiencies on your farm and growing some more minerals in your crops? So then they go on and basically they planted celery with trace minerals, and they found that it had at least, I think, twice as much minerals as celery not grown with the trace minerals. Also, it stored longer, and it was healthier to eat. Going on further in the book, I mean, I want you guys to actually look up this book. I'll put a link down below to this so you guys could look it up and read the whole thing yourself to learn about all this stuff. Because, I mean, I was exposed to this, it must be like 20 years ago now. It says, a famous nutrition authority recently said, one sure way to end the American people's susceptibility to infection is to supply through food-based ration or iron, copper, and other metals, and organism requirements may so utilize these elements as to produce immunity from infection quite beyond anything we're able to produce artificially by our present method of immunization. You can't make up the deficiency by using patent medicine. So think about that. What is he really saying there? I mean, I kind of feel like my English instructor when he's reading Shakespeare and stuff, and I like really didn't understand what all that stuff was about Shakespeare and all this stuff. But I understand this. Basically, he's saying that if we have, food that's deficient, we're not getting all our trace minerals, we're going to get higher levels of diseases, and, even the latest medicine, immunizations, or whatever is not going to fix the deficiency. The deficiency isn't a deficiency from a vaccine or from, a drug, which always have side effects, which are just undesired effects. But the deficiency is because we're not eating the proper foods anymore. And this is what I'm really so passionate about these days. I mean, I guess at the end, I'll sum it up, last line of this booklet. It is simpler to cure sick soils than sick people. Which shall we choose? This was back in 1936, man. What do they choose? Well, industry, the government, whomever is in charge, chose the path of least resistance, I suppose, which is the path of financial interests, big corporations, companies making a lot of money, and making chemical fertilizers that could be sold after the World War, and they had all these excess, factories making, bombs. Now they could make fertilizer out of them and make money, and so I don't know. Things didn't go exactly as I would have liked, and trace minerals are really important. And what I want to do next for you is actually turn this into an interview with Dr. Joel Wallach. Actually, he's the man who enlightened me originally about the importance of trace minerals and how to get them into our body. So I see Dr. Wallach pretty much every year at the Naturopathic Doctors Convention. And this year I decided to interview him for you guys to pass on his very important words of wisdom, because he's been doing this even longer than I have. So let's go ahead and get into the interview with Dr. Wallach. So now I have the pleasure of interviewing Dr. Joel Wallach, and he's the expert on minerals that I've ever learned about. Back in, the 1990s, there was a cassette tape, this kind of dates me a little bit, that went around called Dead Doctors Don't Lie, and this is the man that made that tape. And he is the one that basically enlightened me about the importance of trace minerals in our diets and why you should use them to grow your food and how they can positively affect your health and your plant's health. So I want to just get Dr. Wallach today on to basically share with you guys the importance of using trace minerals in your garden. Because if you go down to a standard big box store and you get some fertilizer package, a conventional fertilizer, synthetic fertilizer, it has like 10, 10, 10, but those are 3 main minerals in there. And, we need a lot more than that. So, I'm not going to take the show away from Dr. Wallach. We want to get his expert opinion here. So, Dr. Wallach, why is using just 3 standard minerals, which is what most of conventional and even a lot of organic farming focuses on?
Well, John, first of all, thank you for asking me to speak with you. Plants only need 3 minerals. All vertebrates, including human beings, require 60. That's why we have this discrepancy. And we used to get our minerals from putting our wood ashes from our wood stoves into the garden, and also the spring floods would leave silt when the floodwater recede. We'd plow that in and renew the minerals in soil. Well, once we got electricity, there's no more wood ashes going into the garden, And because we have hydroelectric plants, there's no more flooding, and so there's no more silt lift in the spring to plow back into the soil and renew the minerals in the soil. And so in the agricultural industry, and as you know, I'm a veterinarian as well as a naturopathic physician, so in the agricultural industry, we make sure that it's the cheapest, most economical, and most efficient way to get the minerals into our dairy cows and our beef cows and our chickens and pigs and things is to feed it to them, give it to them. Their little alfalfa pellets aren't just alfalfa, it's corn and alfalfa and maybe some wheat and maybe some rice. Certainly there's the 90 essential nutrients, 60 minerals, 16 vitamins, 12 amino acids, 3 fatty acids put in there. And we put them in the animal feeds because we don't have insurance for them. And they get this, and it increases fertility, it increases longevity, it increases live births, and it eliminates birth defects, increases production. Instead of having a cow give you half a quart of milk, they're getting 1.5 gallons. Instead of chickens laying 3 eggs a week, they'll lay 3 eggs a day, and so on. And so by giving the animals the 90 essential nutrients, which include all the trace minerals, which are cofactors for enzymes and hormones that work in the body, all vertebrates, what happens is you're maximizing the genetic potential that a human being or that animal has for health, fending off disease, longevity, production. And this is the piece we're missing as humans. In humans, medical doctors will say, oh, just eat well, you get everything you need. No, because plants might only have 3 minerals. They don't make minerals. If you put 3 minerals in the soil, make the plant happy, they'll make good seeds for the next generation, but you're not getting what you need. That's why there's blue zones, according to Dan Buettner for National Geographic. And he called them blue zones because he's circling them with a blue crayon, right, on the map. Very scientific. But these are the longest-lived peoples on Earth. And by dumb luck, they live in places that have more than 60 minerals in their soil, and they're still using wood stoves. They're all third world cultures, the longest-lived people on Earth, according to National Geographic. Because they still have wood stoves, they're putting the wood ashes in the garden, so the plant doesn't need more than 3 minerals, but they'll suck them all up. And so then when you eat the plant that's been fertilized with the wood ashes, with the plant minerals, right? Because wood ashes aren't really ashes, they're the minerals the tree sucks up. And so that's why the longest lived people are the third world cultures. Minerals, minerals, minerals. It eliminates all birth defects. All birth defects are caused by nutritional deficiencies of the embryo. There's no birth defects that are passed on by genetics. None. That's an overreach of the science of genetics. Genetics will determine your hair color, your eye color, your skin color, your gender, boy, girl kind of thing. And it will tell your liver cells to make liver cells when it's repairing itself, tell your cartilage cells to make cartilage cells when it's defending itself. And, but that's it. There's no diseases. There's no birth defects that are transmitted by bad genes. That's absolute nonsense. There's thousands and thousands and thousands of failed medical theories. Have to do with minerals, some of them. For instance, aluminum doesn't cause Alzheimer's disease. Alzheimer's disease is a physician-caused disease. It's caused by deficiency of a nutrient, but not a mineral. It's actually a fatty acid, okay, combination. It's cholesterol. When you're deficient in cholesterol, you're going to get Alzheimer's disease. If you're deficient in certain other nutrients, it's going to be faster and worse, okay? Same way with things like type 2 diabetes. That's not genetic. It's a deficiency of a single mineral. When you have a birth defect like muscular dystrophy, in cattle we call it white muscle disease. In human beings we call it muscular dystrophy. It's a deficiency of a single mineral. Cardiomyopathy heart attacks, which cause our athletes, 10,000 American athletes, die suddenly each year from a heart attack. It's a deficiency of a single mineral. In pigs it's called Mulberry heart disease. Same disease. We get rid of it in pigs just by putting that one mineral in their food along with the other 90, more of that one mineral. So we make sure there's extra there so they don't get that sudden heart death. And my patients tell me that I treat them like dogs, but they do get better because I use everything I learned in veterinary medicine and nutrition on my human patients. And it works. I've been doing it for 38 years, and I've developed programs in my company so I'm leveraging my time. I don't have time to spend with a half hour with each patient just talking to them. So when I talk to patients to get an idea what's going on, I talk to 300 to 500 at a time. It's a free lecture. They don't even pay for an office call or anything. It's a free lecture. I give them my kind of overall philosophy and what they're going to see when they come to the office. And they come to the office, they say, I've had diabetes for 10 years. Okay, that's enough. Here's our program for diabetes. Here, get a logbook. I want you to write down your blood sugar every day. Take this stuff this way. We'll see you in 2 weeks. They come back in 2 weeks. Your blood sugar is down from 220 on medication down to 60 or 8 or 72. Okay, you're working perfectly. Keep taking the same amount. Just follow your doctor's advice. As your blood sugar is dropping, you reduce your medication based on what your doctor told you. And you get down below 100 for 2 weeks in a row without medication. You don't need medication. Same thing, again, is true with Alzheimer's disease. It's totally preventable. It's not genetic, and it's certainly not caused by aluminum. But it is caused by doctors telling you to get on statin drugs to reduce your cholesterol, blood cholesterol. They tell you to eat egg white omelets. And same way with aneurysms. People come to me with aneurysms. These are caused by deficiency of a single mineral, which is required to help your arteries manufacture and maintain the strength of the elastic fibers of your arteries. That's what breaks down when you get an aneurysm. And so if you're not getting that trace mineral, you're going to get an aneurysm. You'll get spider veins, you'll get varicose veins, you'll get hemorrhoids. You'll have white hair, and you'll lose the pigment in your skin. Even if you're a very dark African American. For instance, Michael Jackson, before he died, he was as white as a sheet of paper because he was not absorbing the nutrients necessary to make skin color. He had to shave his hair because it was snow white, and he was wearing wigs. And all because he couldn't absorb, because he had gluten intolerance, couldn't absorb the minerals that were necessary to make skin color, hair color, and actually deal with internal changes in the vascular system.
Wow. Yeah, I mean, I went to his talk earlier. I mean, this guy has a wealth of knowledge. I went to his talk earlier. It was on epigenetics, which is basically the expression of your genes. So you have genes, and if you have nutrient deficiencies, like especially in the trace minerals, then you may be sick, or a lot of different things could happen because the expression of your genes is different than how they should be if you had all the nutrition in there. Anyways, the doc could talk for hours about this mineral for this and this, but I want to get into some more important information for you guys. Like, Doctor, you talked about the wood ashes, right? So if my viewers that are gardening, if they use wood ashes in their garden, you know, I've heard things like if you have too many wood ashes, it might not be a good thing, but will they get all the minerals they need from wood ashes, or should they not guarantee that they're going to get all the minerals from just using the wood ashes? Should they get maybe another product?
Okay, there's no guarantee.
Right.
Because nutritional minerals, John, do not occur in a uniform blanket around the crust of the earth. They occur in veins like chocolate and chocolate ice cream. It all swirls and whirls, right? And these 20 top longevity cultures, they, by dumb luck, live in places that have all these minerals, have 60 or more minerals in the soil. Whereas the ones who eat well, they garden, or organic gardening, and they'll die of a ruptured aneurysm at age 32. That's because they didn't have that trace mineral in the soil. Yep. The only way you can guarantee it is to supplement with it in your mouth, or supplement your garden with it. Okay, and of course we do have the product.
Yeah, we'll talk about that in a little bit.
And so we have the ability to do that, and as a result, the yield goes up, the health of the crops go up, the health of the land goes up, and it's just one of those miracles to increase your yield by so many fold. For instance, you use our program, you can take sweet potatoes, which would normally give you a mature sweet potato at a quarter of a pound. They'll be 12, 14 pounds, big as a football. And they're sweeter and more tender than the little ones. And the same way is true with all the fruit and berries. Strawberries are huge, and they're bright red all the way through to the center. They don't have that white pulp in the middle kind of thing. Tomatoes are 3 times bigger. Same thing is true for animals that are fed, like soybeans or hay that are fertilized with these minerals. Their milk production goes up, their egg production goes up, their weight gain in beef, cattle, and pigs goes up. Fertility goes up, survivability of babies goes up, all their birth defects goes away, all the white muscle disease, things like Mulberry heart disease in pigs, all those birth defects, cleft palate, Down syndrome, that all goes away. Cerebral palsy all goes away by supplementing with these trace minerals. Yeah, trace minerals, they're super important. If you guys watch me for any length of time, you guys know that I'm really on and into the trace minerals. So doctor, I know there's a lot of people out there that say, I don't need to add the trace minerals to my garden because my soil is fertile where I live and the minerals are already in there and my plants grow fine. What would you say to them? Well, the reason why the minerals are in the plants is because the plants are sucking them out of the soil. Unless you're renewing those minerals by putting the plant minerals, aka wood ashes, in, or leaving it flood and silt is coming from places that have the 60 minerals in it, after a period of 6, 8, 10 years, depending on how intensely you grow crops in your garden, there won't be any minerals left in the garden. Your garden will die, and you'll have to start adding commercial fertilizer, okay? You must fertilize that soil 2 or 3 or 4 times a year, depending on what you're growing, to make it optimal for the plant and optimal for the man and animals that are eating those plants. Otherwise, you're not going to guarantee. And I'll give you an analogy, and I think this is a good place to kind of end it.
All right.
The analogy goes like this. Let's say you take your car to a mechanic, and he says, it's time to change the oil. And you say, well, I don't want to spend a lot of money for 6 quarts of high-grade oil. I want the cheapest oil. So I can do better than that. Instead of putting 6 quarts of cheap oil in your car, I'm going to put 6 quarts of dirt from Texas into your car. Everybody knows there's lots of oil in Texas. There's bound to be some oil in that dirt from Texas that'll take care of your car. And nobody would do that, even to an old, rusted-out, dented-up car. You say, no, I don't believe that one. But people believe it when doctors say, oh, just eat well, you get everything you need. What you want to do is take all 90 essential nutrients, even though you're even putting these nutrients in the garden, you still want to supplement. And then what you're getting from your food is value added. That's the way we want to look at it. You do not want to not supplement. You do not want to not supplement. And then you supplement the soil. You will maximize your genetic potential for health and longevity at that point.
Yeah, I mean, I totally agree. I don't want you guys to become deficient. So, doctor, what's the soil product that you recommend? I have some in my house. There's a liquid and a solid, right? I got both of them myself. I've been using them. The Bloomin' Minerals. So how can that actually create fertility and add these very important trace minerals into somebody's garden? And why do you come up with this product?
Well, there's 78 minerals in this product, 78 minerals, including all 60 essential minerals in optimal amounts. It's called Bloomin' Minerals, you point out. We have it in 40-pound bags of granules. And we also have it in quart, gallon, and 55-gallon drums of the liquid, depending on how big your operation is, whether you use a spray or a spreader. And so you can foliar your feed as well as do the granules on the soil. And so we kind of go through this. We have a lot of experience, and so we can, actually I'm working on a book, but we do have one book that kind of covers this. It's called Rare Earth Spin Cures, which you looked at earlier. And so that one's a very, very good one. It tells what minerals are missing when you get certain diseases, how the minerals work, what enzyme system, what hormones require them to function properly.
Awesome, awesome. And I apply these minerals to my garden like after every growing season. So once a year, I grow 2 different croppings, so like a summer crop and a winter crop. I'll like add the minerals and more compost and create fertility after every season of planting, because I'm pulling nutrients out in my plants and I want to put them back in. And even if I'm adding more than the plant's putting out, that's a good thing. That's like putting money in the bank versus like taking money out of the bank and being withdrawn and overbalanced and getting like, all them fees, right? You don't want to overpull from the soil. So actually Dr. Wallach got a call and actually had to take off. So I couldn't get to finish my interview with him. So I'm kind of sad, but I'm glad I got what I got on tape for you guys, so you guys could hear it, so you guys could learn the importance of the trace minerals. Not only do I add trace minerals in for my plants, which some people still fail to realize that plants really need more than just the 3 NPK or maybe 15 or 16 minerals. But I mean, if nature, God, whomever put all these minerals on the earth and they should be in the soils, and if they're not there, I mean, then we're not growing or going according with nature. So here's the thing, like the soils are getting pulled out, the minerals are not getting put back in. So there's basically 2 solutions, right? When I learned about Dr. Wallach, I learned that Dead Doctors Don't Lie tape, and he was trying to sell a colloidal mineral supplement, which, I took at the time. But I tried to figure out ways like, John, you could take a supplement, you could buy a supplement for the rest of your life, but what's even better than buying a supplement? Well, hey, I want to eat foods that are mineralized. And at the time, I wasn't actually growing my foods. I was getting all my foods from the grocery store, from the farmer's market, and even most farmers, unfortunately, do not add trace minerals. The majority of people, even home gardeners, don't add trace minerals, except if you're one of my long-term viewers and watch me and trust in what I say and trust in the experts that I have on for you guys, right? Because I'm just sharing what I've learned over all these years that have been really important to me, right? And I don't want to lose my life, from something that I could have prevented, right? I don't want it to be my mistake, right? And I'm just sharing what I know, and that's why I make these videos. So anyways, I decided that, I could take these colloidal minerals, that's pretty good, but I don't want to be hooked on a supplement for the rest of my life. So I want to grow my own high quality food and eat food predominantly out of my garden that has all these trace minerals in there in amounts that nature would require. So that's why I started gardening and growing my food. I took out my front yard, my front lawn, and started growing all raised bed edible vegetable gardens. I was like, I think 9 years ago now. Before that, I was growing in the periphery of my yard. And that's really good, right? And I know a lot of you guys are growing with the trace minerals. And that's great also. And there's many different types. So the kind, actually, Dr. Wallach himself actually has a company. It's actually called Youngevity. It's right here. This is one of his products right here. That's the Dr. Wallach right there. And basically, this is the Blooming Minerals product. This is a soil revitalizer, and this is OMRI certified for use in organic farming. This is a small jar full. It's 2.5 pounds. It's actually kind of expensive. They have a bigger bag, which is a much better deal in my opinion. And this is the one that you will want to buy if you want to revitalize your soil, with up to 76 different minerals in there. And if we open, and it has a list of all of them on the back, but this is the one that he formulated, he put together, and he's recommending. And so if you want to trust the doctor, that's what I would recommend to you guys. And so I'll have links down below if you want to purchase this product. And just show you guys what it looks like. Basically, it looks like this. And what this is, in my opinion, and I don't really know exactly for sure because I'm not a soil microbiologist or all this stuff, but it looks like soil humates to me, right? And soil humates are commonly available for actually a lot less than what this is being sold for, but those soil humates may not be organic approved, and you know, they may be of varying quality. So I'm sure he checks each and every batch to ensure he's getting some of the best stuff, because you're also paying a little bit more for it. So yeah, so besides just this stuff, the blooming minerals or some soil humates, you could also use things like rock dust. And not all rock dusts are created equal. I'm not really going to get into rock dust here. Be sure to click some of the links below, where I'll have maybe a link to my playlist about rock dust, where you can learn more about it. Also the ocean solids or ocean minerals, and also put links down below to some of those videos I did. So I do encourage you guys to do the minerals, and then to grow all your food, and especially if you guys have pets or animals, grow the food for them using the trace minerals so that they could be healthier. I mean, as Dr. Wallach, who's a veterinary, went to school for animal husbandry, saw that they always would feed animals trace mineral supplements in their feed. Why don't we, from a young age, have trace mineral supplements, right, that are worth their weight in something, instead of just actually going in one end and coming out the other? So that's what I want to talk about next. If you guys aren't up to the point where you guys are actually growing a significant portion of your food and just want to ensure you get the proper minerals, I want you guys to eat foods that have high levels of trace minerals in there. So aside from my homegrown rock dust, soil humate, blooming mineral, ocean solid, enhanced vegetables that I grow, I also take some different products, such as seaweed powders. I take seaweed powders almost every day. Seaweeds have a wide spectrum of minerals because in the oceans they have significantly more minerals than most parts of soil or of land soil, depending on, unless you're maybe in one of the blue zones, and that's probably one of the reasons why blue zones people live so long, because they actually have the trace minerals. But probably there's other reasons as well. But aside from that, I also take some supplementary minerals. And so the ones that I've been taking recently are these guys. So this is the Youngevity brand, and this is actually Dr. Wallach's product. This is actually called the plant-derived minerals. So this is the liquid version, and I like this a lot because actually there's no artificial colors, flavors, sweeteners, and let me tell you, it tastes like hell. You're gonna drink it, you're like, whoa. I mean, I suppose it tastes better to me than alcohol, but I don't drink. But it has a strong flavor, and when I drank some reverse osmosis water after drinking this straight up, which actually I don't recommend for you guys, actually the water tasted sweet, and that's how bad the minerals taste. So if you're going to get these minerals that are liquid, then I do encourage you guys to maybe like mix them in with some juice or something like that. It'll taste a lot better. But yeah, this has up to 76 different minerals also that are listed on the back. And basically the thing about these minerals, unlike a Centrum tablet or other minerals, these are actually from plant-derived minerals. So basically these are plants that basically composted thousands of years ago, and basically they put in a bottle. So the minerals are coming from plants. Now, if you don't like liquids, like Josh, he doesn't like shipping liquids in bottles, you guys could actually get the capsules. So liquids or capsules. And I've also taken these capsules. These capsules are actually in a gelatin capsule. I don't like to take a gelatin capsule. I don't like to take a lot of processed things like that. So I actually open the capsules up and put in my tongue. That was another not so great idea that I had recently. It actually fuzzed and bubbled on my tongue, and that even tasted worse than the liquid. So I don't recommend doing that. Maybe mix the tablets in with a juice. Once again, I would, empty the contents of the capsule out of the capsule. Or, if you don't mind taking some gelatin, just swallow the capsule whole while you're taking it with some juice, and the capsule will dissolve, and you'll get the minerals in you, and you'll probably absorb them and get healthier because of it. I mean, I think overall Dr. Wallach looked great for his age. I'm sure nobody does everything exactly right, and I hope he eats his share of fresh fruits and vegetables grown in rock dust and soil humate enhanced and blooming minerals and all that stuff, and just eats the majority of his food is plant foods, because those are the best foods. And I mean, that's why I got into gardening, man. The reason why I got into gardening is one of the reasons is because of the minerals. Like, I want to get the trace minerals in me. I don't want to have a mineral deficiency. There's many different health challenges can be caused by mineral deficiency, according to documented research that I have seen. I will have an upcoming episode actually on some brand new fertilizers that may help with certain conditions that are formulated with certain minerals that are known to be deficient in individuals with certain conditions. So I'm really looking forward to that episode. But in the meantime, right, to keep your health, to have your wealth, which is your health, I want you guys to supplement, not only yourselves, but also your soils, more importantly, with the trace minerals. Your plants will be happier, and in the end, you could be happier. And I wish all of industry to simply do this. It would not be that much more expensive to start using rock dust, locally sourced rock dust from different quarries, and adding that to the farmlands to increase the fertility, increase the nutrition of America's foods. And if America's not going to do it, that's great. If you guys are from another country, hey, tell your Ministry of Agriculture and all this stuff to watch my video. And I want you guys, whatever country you guys are in, to start mineralizing your guys' foods. I mean, in some countries, they're actually taking seaweed powders and baking it into bread. And the health of the population is actually increasing because of this. And I want America to be first in everything. But if they're not going to do it, I don't care who does it, because I just want, the world needs to change. The world needs to start remineralizing the soil, not only for the soil health, not only for the people health, but for the planet health as well. So if you guys want to pick up some of these mineral products, whether the soil or the ones you want to take internally, please check the link down below this video. That'll get you to where you guys can order them. Also, be sure to click that subscribe button right down below to be notified new and upcoming episodes I have coming out about every 3 to 4 days. You never know what I'll be talking about or what you'll be learning about on my YouTube gardening channel. Also, be sure to check my past episodes. My past episodes are a wealth of knowledge. I have over 1,200 episodes to date, teach you guys all aspects on how to grow your own food at home. And be sure to like this video. That'll encourage me to maybe hit up Dr. Wallach next time for another interview, and maybe I'll have some more good questions for him. Try to stump him. All right. So once again, my name is John Kohler with GrowingYourGreens.com. We'll see you next time, and until then, remember, keep on growing. All right, this is John Kohler with GrowingYourGreens.com. Today I have another exciting episode for you, and I'm happy to be at the National Heirloom Expo. This is the world's pure food fair. You can learn more about them